If you feel like your life is kind of a mess right now, if you feel bored, drained, tired, a mess, and you don't like yourself, and you want to like fully change and fully like reinvent yourself from head to toe, top to bottom, and become unrecognizable and step into the best version of yourself, you need to isolate yourself to do the deepest and darkest of the works that nobody needs to see. Before starting this video, I want to acknowledge the fact that you're already at least 60 to 75% ahead of a lot of people, because it takes guts to watch these kinds of videos, because you're acknowledging that you want to change, that there is something in you that needs to change, that is your fault, and you take full accountability, full responsibility. And that needs to be applauded. Give yourself this reward and acknowledge yourself, because you are trying. And when you're trying, you will succeed. Just don't give up, follow the steps, and go coast. Get addicted and fall in love with yourself. First point, cut out, this is the most important one, cut out toxic people, cut out toxic friends, even family. It doesn't matter. You are in the phase of reinventing your whole life. You are in the phase. Okay? So you cannot afford the noise. You simply can't. Up until this point of life, you have tolerated mediocre people, but you cannot stay mediocre anymore. If you really want to change and become unrecognizable, you have to isolate yourself for a few seasons, maybe not forever, because you will lead, because you'll attract the new kind of great people and great environment. But for now, you need to focus on yourself and only yourself. So anything that is not helping you to move forward, to succeed, anything else that is not helping you positively rather than negatively affecting you, it's gonna mess up your entire process. Trust me, your entire process. And you cannot afford that. When you have no food on your plate, you cannot afford your money to be stolen. You cannot afford theft, so you protect whatever money you have with everything you have, because you're hungry. You have no money on your plate, no food on your plate, and you need to have that kind of hunger in order to succeed. So anything, an environment is your air. You're breathing toxicity if you live in a toxic environment. And what does toxic environment mean? The environment you're living in, the environment you're putting yourself through, the room you're living in. Are you cleaning it? The body is your temple. Are you cleaning it? Okay? So you yourself build your environment. The house you live in, places you go to, the things you listen to is your environment. The food you eat, right? Healthy food, the workout you do, take care of your body. This is your environment. This is your atmosphere. Do you listen to gloomy, sad songs and want to be gloomy? Or do you want to take the lessons from your pain and you understand that pain is part of life? The moment I started literally hugging obstacles here and there, I wanted to attract obstacles. That moment, obstacles started going away. The goal is to not fear obstacles. You need to be able to love obstacles, and that is my second point. But at first, clean your environment. Cut off any people, or no matter how close they are, if they're toxic, and people are supposed to help you go up there. True friends, true family, true people who actually love you and care for you have to be inclined to your vision of going to the top. And imagine negatively derailing it. Imagine negatively self-sabotaging. You need to cut people off like tags on a clothing. Okay? If you cannot do that, you cannot be successful. You have to say no. Learn saying no. Growing up, I always used to believe that the more yes I will say, the more opportunities I will have, and the more successful I will be. And I've been saying yes my entire life, and at some point I've just been exhausted and burnt out, and I felt like a void in myself. I felt like I did not listen to myself. I did not say yes because I wanted to, but because I wanted to please people. I wanted to make them see a version of myself that did not exist. I wanted to make them see she's so capable. She's doing so many things and succeeding at them. And I was becoming a jack of all trades. It is much better in succeeding in one thing and getting mastery in one thing than failing at everything. And you cannot put 2 feet in 2 ships and not alone hundreds of other ships, right? So negative talk in this moment will derail you, will negatively affect you so much more than you think, because you think you are in control. But in reality, if you're a strategist, if you're realist, you will know that on your bad days, which are like in a week, probably 1 day or 2 days is your bad day, you think that when you are planning, when you're at the top, you think you're inhuman, you're perfect, that you'll never have your willpower wither away until the day comes and your plan goes in waste and your entire day goes in waste, and then the next week, the next month, it becomes a cycle, and then you make a plan again, unrealistic plan that you do not follow, and then you lose trust in yourself. And I know this is true for you. You just won't admit it. Be honest to yourself. Be honest with yourself, the potential and the work you can actually put in. Do not lie to yourself. Stop pretending to yourself, and then stop pretending to other people. Honesty is the key. Authenticity is the key. If you cannot be true to yourself, if you cannot show up being you to you every single day, then it doesn't matter. Other people doesn't matter. You're not living the life you want to live. Don't let other people tell you can't do it, because you can. Don't let anybody get in your way of success. And sometimes you are the toxic person. Sometimes you take yourself away from your own success. So in that times, get out of your head and have the courage and the ruthlessness and the durability to accept that you're wrong. And that's the biggest trick, that you being honest to yourself. That's the first step. I remember that I had been deeply influenced by Virat Kohli, the way he talks, the relationship he has with his wife, and the work ethic he has. He does everything he needs to do in order to be successful. And if you see his previous pictures, and not even his pictures, his personality, his way with the media, his rude behavior, and that man changed completely and transformed himself into a different one. And do not feel shame for yourself if you think you're in a bad place right now, if you're in the pit hole, in the rock bottom. Do not feel sorry for yourself, because imagine you are in the pit hole, right? And then you move up and up, okay? And then you move to a good place, okay? And then there is another person who has always been in a mediocre place, who gets more credit. I think no successful person will berate you for trying. Only the fake friends you had, who always were drinking, who always were self-sabotaging themselves, they will negatively talk about your trying. Because trying is the best, and it's hard to change. You have to acknowledge it's hard to change, and still people choose to change. And when people choose to change, they make others look into themselves and see that they can also change. So Virat Kohli, I remember one day he was just fed up with himself, and he looked himself in the mirror and he said that I cannot go on like this. If I'm gonna be a professional athlete, a cricketer for my country, I cannot go on like this. And the next day, boom, he started to change. And we don't know the actual process, but he changed. And if you want to change drastically, you can. Don't let anybody deter you from it. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because you only know your true potential. Everybody has their own reality projected on you. It's okay to take others' opinion, but ultimately you have the power and you decide. Always keep that in mind. One of the best and worst moments of my life was COVID-19. At first, I felt suffocated and I self-sabotaged myself. And slowly, me and also other people began to learn that this period is a period of self-discovery. And I had to do a lot of journaling, a lot of reflection for me to be who I am now. Because I was a completely different person before COVID. And everything started clicking in for me, because I started looking into my inner self, into my own self, started acknowledging the wrongs I had done. And I started undoing them and started improving. I cut off every single people who were just yapping, bringing no value, who I did not respect. I cut everybody off, and it felt, you know how it felt so much lighter. It felt like I didn't have to carry this burden of weight anymore. So it was like I finally freed myself from the people-pleasing behavior, from the people who were toxic to me. And it just felt so much clean. That's why it became a clean environment. I started talking back to people who disrespected me, and my life changed 360 degrees. Why? Because of self-isolation. I contained myself in a box. I studied, did some workout, it only took a little bit of time for me to entirely change up my entire life, because we do not self-reflect. We are so consumed in our daily life, okay, in the smallest of details, that we sometimes forget to push back, to see the entire world, and to realize the reality we're living in. We totally forget to do that. And because we're so into this one thing, we stop seeing the whole picture that actually does matter. We start going into the wrong direction, because it's so scary to just all of a sudden stop momentum and then reflect, because what if we were wrong? Then we would have to go back again. It's so hard to just stop yourself and ask yourself these honest questions like, are you happy in this relationship? Are your friends treating you right? Is your family members treating you right? Are you treating yourself right? How much time you waste on social media? These questions are so suffocating that we would rather keep derailing the wrong path for the rest of our life and never look back because we are so scared, even though it's the wrong path. And we know subconsciously that we should be going the other way, but we keep derailing down because why? We're so scared. And when isolation happens, we are forced to listen to ourselves because we have nothing else. We have cut everything off. We have cut stupid people. We have cut people who do not respect others, who do not respect themselves. Okay? And all we have left is ourselves because we have cut people off who we do not want to be friends with, but also we do not have any friends that we want to be friends with. So we are at a point where you want to be friends with someone you can be. And in that moment, in that lonely chapter, you are the only friend you'll ever have, and you have to make peace with it for the rest of the life. And that will be your biggest accomplishment because you learn to live with yourself and you will be happy with it. For the first time, you'll be okay with being alone. You won't be lonely with others because you'll give yourself so much time, so much love that you won't require anything. It's fun if other people love you, if other people see the efforts you put in. But what if you do that to yourself? What if you acknowledge that you're being honest to yourself and that you want to change? What if you say, I've messed up, okay. Can I control it? No. So should I move on or just overthink and again self-sabotage? No. I have this little tiny beautiful life. I'm going to make most of it. And just because I've lost $10 doesn't mean I'm going to lose $100. So I'm going to keep going. Stoicism is so much important when you're starting. Stoicism is so much related to success. If you cannot control something, do not overthink about it. Do not even think about it. If there is something you can control, go 100x on it. So my next point is deep work, the importance of deep work. Okay? Not only you will isolate yourself from other people, but also you will isolate yourself from the outer world. This may sound very toxic, but it is also very productive. Okay? So many people, and in your head, there will voices that will tell you to just go outside, take 5 minutes off, and you know that 5 minutes will turn into 15 minutes and 20 minutes. It's just we are a creature of focus. We are a creature of momentum. And at first, focus will be very hard because of our attention span. And it is normal in this age if you are able to master focus and longevity and sit for like at least 4 hours, not at least, but the ideal time is 4 hours is the deep work time. What I suggest is lock yourself up in the room, have your coffee ready, have your water bottles ready, everything ready at your hand, have your food ready, also snacks or whatever you want, so that you do not have the necessity to get up. So don't get up. Even though it feels excruciating at first, do not get up. And at first it will be hard, as it should, because hard things feels hard. But the amount of things you get done, my God. And then it will get easier. It's like a muscle. You won't be able to achieve anything if you're not in deep work. You think you're taking 5-minute breaks, but that break is a distraction. Our brain loves to be in a momentum. Suppose you are working for 1 hour, you think you are going to take 5-minute breaks, it loses that focus. If you think you're going to scroll for 5 minutes, it's gone. Even if you can come back with the sheer willpower of this, that, forget about willpower, create systems. Create so much of a perfect system that it is impossible for you to not get successful. Because most of the days will be bad days. Most of the days you won't feel like getting out of your bed. The question is how easy you make it for yourself that you can thrive in pressure. The goal is to thrive in negativity because most of the time there will be negativity, and you have to assume that life is not rose-colored glasses. When you're planning, we are thinking everything's going to be perfect and I am a superhuman. Do not ignore and shame your human flaws. Do not bully yourself into thinking that you're better than you are or you're worse than who you are. Exactly answer the honest questions with honest answers. So deep work is like a deep workout. If you can go through it, you will get enormous amount of results and you'll get so much done. You probably won't need to work the rest of the day, but you realize the goal wasn't hard, but the ability to focus in this day and age is a currency in itself. Today, I have been recording videos for almost 2 hours and I'm almost in a flow state now. And I have 8 subscribers right now and exactly like 46 views on some videos. And I have so many reasons to not do this, but I'll still do it because the reasons of doing it are much higher than the reasons of not doing it. I'll also give you a productivity hack, which is using a kitchen timer. I use this kitchen timer all the time. It's from Amazon. Get this kitchen timer. It's very cheap. It's a few dollars, or if you're Indian, it's like 100 to 200 something. Do not spend your money on that extra pizza and buy this instead. And every time you get up from the desk, time that. Every time you think it's just going to be 5 minutes, time that, because it's going to prove to you that it's not 5 minutes, it's actually 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. And you'll be shocked by the amount of time you waste. And I promise you wouldn't want to see it. You wouldn't use this kitchen timer. You will get sick of it, because I used to get sick of it. Okay, what is this? This is sick. I'm not wasting that much time. It's just, I think I miscalculated. It's broken, right? You'll be amazed to see how much time we actually waste on lingering on useless thoughts and listening to useless shit and listening to, just scrolling and thinking about doing stuff rather than doing stuff. There's just so much noise, right? And it's so hard to focus on one thing. So I recommend you to go all in. So the next point is stop telling people your goals. Stop announcing yourself to the entire world. Stop talking before acting. Okay? It's not for them, it's for you. If you know what goals you have and what ambitions you have, it doesn't matter what other things, what other feelings. It's not a deep-ended decision that you need to take your toxic friends' advice on. Okay? You don't need to tell people, I am starting this or I am doing this. Because the more you talk, the more you lose the motivation to do. The more you talk, the more energy you give out of the work itself, you won't actually succeed. You won't actually do it. Because you feel like you've already done it. Because talking feels productive, but isn't. Talking feels good, right? Everybody likes to talk. Everybody likes to blabber. Nobody likes to listen, right? Why would you get evil eyes? Why would you invite hate? And why would you tell people you don't even care about? I think it is most, even if, like, my closest friends, okay, even if I would be much more impressed if they told me nothing and one day, boom, they're transformed. I would be more impressed, okay? Chattering, gossiping, and talking, okay, are just low vibrational activities. These are all form of procrastination than just doing. It feels enough, okay? And then you do not actually end up achieving your goal. You tell yourself, I did my best, when all you did was just talk. Okay? Talking felt like doing. Thinking, overthinking about it, over planning, journaling about it, meditating, visualizing, manifesting about it, felt like work, but it wasn't work. You didn't do the actual work because you're so scared preparing for it. And preparing for it took so much energy. You realize the actual hard work is so hard. It's so hard that most people won't endure and that most people won't do it. Investing in yourself is so hard. Investing in your body is so hard. Eating healthy is hard. Studying, focusing, working, okay? Having the discipline to be good to yourself is hard. And it's worth it. People know it is worth it. Still, they will choose the other way. And that's that. That's their choice. So stop blabbering, okay? The less you talk, the more successful you'll be. No cap. Be more private. It is your life, no one else's. Have the authority that yes, you will be able to manage in your own life, being alone, solving your own problems because you're going to die alone, you're born alone, and be okay in your own skin, be okay in taking up space and doing what you do, and be self-assured and self-satisfied that even if you fail, it won't matter because you gave it your all. And you did not chit-chat about it, you did not do 100 hours of research about it, but you actually did it. And guess what? The way to learn something is actually just doing it, rather than all this other kind of procrastination, planning, masturbation. So do the work. The reason people don't do the work is because they realize, my God, this is actually very hard. I'm not capable of doing this. So I will plan and then delay and then run from it and then in turn run from myself and never actually get it done. And when the time will come, I'll just call it quits and say to the entire world, it was their problem, not mine. I did my best. It's so easy to blame the world, to criticize, to be a cynic and tell everybody is the problem but me. It takes so much guts to say that I'm the problem. So it takes so much courage and honesty and dynamism to say that I am wrong. And only brave people can do that. Only brave people can stand their ground and say, I have been the worst and I will change myself. Until you cannot fully acknowledge how much of a monster you are or how much of both the monster and a good person you are, you cannot move on. You cannot change. You cannot evolve. And to live is to evolve. You don't want to stay stagnant. And if you want to taste growth, you have to go through immense discomfort and it's immense hard work that people are just not willing to sign up for. Easy things will give you easy returns. And people are happy with easy returns. People are happy with living a mediocre life. I think mediocre life is the worst of all. It is rather good to be worst and acknowledging that you're the worst than being the mediocre and feeling like you don't exist at all. Feeling like you're doing just enough to pass by, but pass by what do you want to pass by? I think I would I think I'm an extreme person, so I would just rather not exist. If I want to exist, I would rather live. If I cannot live, I would not. Whatever. So yeah, stop telling people your goals and put all your energy over your bragging. You want to brag, you want to celebrate. Put all that energy into your work, because there will always be some part of you that will be scared of the work, because our brain loves comfort. So my next point is cut out all distraction. Okay, this is similar to the environment point, but here, if you have to delete Instagram to focus on one thing, delete it. Okay, if you are not earning from Instagram or are not planning to earn from Instagram or YouTube, there is no reason for you to have it. If your line of work is in a different mode, you need to focus for seasons in your own world and learning and your education and actually doing the stuff. So not many people can control their addiction, and they don't have to. It's much rather you call it quits. Okay, you do not bring meat in front of the lion and tell the lion to control itself in the last moment until the lion is brought up that way. Still, it will have its temptations, right? So we are becoming like a wild animal in front of social media. So consuming social media like a wild beast of gluttony. Okay, so don't expect yourself to control, because these dopamine apps, dopamine fueled apps, hundreds and hundreds every day, these millionaires and billionaires are investing loads of their money, and thousands of, I don't know, best psychologists are hired, like Elon Musk, and all they are united against you, and you think you can win. It's arrogance. It's pure arrogance. I would much rather lose. I would much rather lose. I would much rather lose and give up social media. Like, if I didn't want to do this, I wouldn't. And I had this 2-year period of no social media, and my life was the best. And my life's still the best, because I eventually had to learn to control it. But if you're a wild beast, be honest with yourself. Yeah, I'm a wild beast. I am a wild beast. So I do not eat any junk food, because if I taste it, I'm like a lion. I'm like a beast. I start binge eating, and then I start binge watching, and then it's a cycle. And I won't shy away from being honest to myself and to other people that I'm giving advice from, because I know where I come from. I know my mistakes, and I would much rather not do it. I'd much rather not, poke the beast that is inside me. And why would you want to consume something that is not good for you? Do you think brain rot is good for you? It decreases your focus, sleep levels, cortisol levels, all this and that. Do you think bad food is good for you? No. So why do you keep doing it? There is no reason to put any kind of toxin in your body. So cut out bad food. This is a good part. Once you start cutting out bad food, immediately change in mood, change in sleep, change in eating, health, everything will start to change for you. Okay? Start eating healthy. Go to the gym every day.